all branches of 20 branches of engineering, the syllabus is common, the curriculum is common. So minimum dosage of physics, chemistry, maths, commerce, and then professional ethics, and all these.
Professional ethics, something what Dr.
we
Divakar
have made
was
compulsory.
mentioning about, that we train for 2 long years and the student just walk out.
No, it is in the curriculum now. We have made it into curriculum, and we had a audit course 1 year back, and it was succeeded well, and then we have put it as a credit course. And then second semester onwards, the actual subjects will come in, domain specialists. So it is going well now.
So then do you mean to say that the students' concern, and especially the parents' concern, that it's like a gigantic machinery, if the branch label, the student doesn't get the right label at the start, he will not come out with flying colors at the end. So how do you want to redress this anxiety or redress this concern of the parents at large about the branch of engineering, about the discipline of engineering they choose at the entry level?
No, we normally conduct, even social organizations, NGOs are also conducting, inviting all of us in a public meetings to sensitize the parents about what engineering is good, and what aptitude a student needs to have, and why parents should not enforce their will and their dreams onto their wards. All this we do before the admission counseling take place.
Sir, we do have a test in engineering for testing the engineering aptitude of a student.
Yes.
But do we also have something which tests that which discipline a student is better meant for or not?
No, that we cannot do because he has already picked up the branch of specialization at admission level. We cannot.
I'm talking about the admission level itself.
Okay.
Like you have the first level as a general physics, chemistry or mathematics is tested. But after that, on the basis of the performance in that test, can we bring out certain mechanisms where a student can be suggested that your aptitude is better for, say, computer science, your aptitude is better
Your
for
idea is
mechanical?
good. Your idea is good. But we can, if that is the case, then anyway, the entrance examination are done on maths, physics, chemistry only. So based on the ranks, comprehensive ranks, they are picking up. So instead, we can also say, as you said, first year is, we don't assign any branch to first year, let us say. Okay, so they all are, engineers at the first year level. After looking at the performance level, their aptitude, their interest, maybe options can be offered to them.
So are you planning of something?
No, that is not planning.
Actually, it's still a long
But
way
it's a
to
good
go.
idea. So, but how it works with the parents in the society, we have to see.
I would like to bring in Dr. Divakar Goyal at this point, sir. What's your view about the multiplicity of the engineering disciplines at the undergraduate level?
See what Dr. Tulsidas has said, I fully agree with him that in the beginning he is exposing him to all the streams. Then his basic aptitude is towards one branch. Naturally, as an engineering college, you will see that he is producing a best computer engineer, civil engineer, electrical engineer. After that, what happens when he joins the industry? There the real training comes and on-the-job training comes, and then they see where the potential is. Basically, you see there are 3 fields. We create a foundation of competencies in the beginning as base when you take a person. When we generate the expertise, what are the expertise we could see from that person? And then ultimately we decide the roles. It becomes in such sort of thing. So it depends on the organization what way I am going to utilize him. Like you will find even in HR discipline engineers are coming who are with the MBA or multi-skilling is there at a certain level. I have a large organization now. I had some recruitment or establishment training. There is one executive director HR which is entire country is being headed. So what we are seeing that at a particular level, general manager or ED and all, certain functions are made generalized. So right from the beginning it comes. The engineering graduate is exposed to economics also, commerce also, other things also. The basic idea is there.
So in a nutshell, our panelists are of the dominant view that choosing a particular discipline of engineering is not so sacrosanct at the entry level. Even if there is a lapse here and there, the student or the worthy candidate would make it up in the long drawn years of his own career. So the concern has to be somewhere towards building up a meaningful and a fruitful career in engineering per se. With this, we move on to the next part of our deliberation. Sir, how do you see the JNTU affiliated colleges competing with the others across the country? what are the 3 hallmarks you would like to say are possessed by the JNTU Kakinada affiliated colleges?
The JNTU Kakinada affiliated colleges, we made them mandatory to go for NBA accreditation of their courses and NAC accreditation of their institution. And before that, we offer them the permanent affiliation where they have reached some benchmark. And also, they are almost similar to UGC autonomous terms and conditions. And we encourage them to go for UGC autonomy. And 7 of them out of 210, I have got already UGC autonomy.
Okay.
And they design their own curriculum.
Okay.
And about 20 colleges have permanently affiliated. And about 40 colleges are having NBA accreditation, valid NBA accreditation. And 2 of colleges have gone for NAC. And there are 30 applications pending with the NAC and about 40 applications pending with NBA to go for it. So the quality assurance and the quality of education is insisted from university side. Not only that, we also educate them how to go about the quality.
So, as an academic regulator and as an academic administrator, what is your belief in the private educational system which has evolved over a period of time? What are your core beliefs?
No, the growing population in our country really requires the 1600 plus universities in the country. But right now we have 662 universities.
Okay.
And 400 plus are from private sector. So Government of India cannot invest in a period of 5 years to produce 1600 universities. So private enterprises should come forward and then the guidelines and standard minimum standards need to be maintained by respective universities so that the private education has to come in. The quality also improves where the government institutions could not provide the facilities that can be provided by private institutions.
So you seem to be a believer in this expansion of the higher education system. So there is one more generalized debate and a confusion among the students at large, that with a large number of private universities coming into the forefront, the students are always in a confusion whether to choose a private university which has large budgetary provisions of advertisements and things like that, and to go for an affiliated college under a state technical university like JNTU Kakinada. So what would be your take on that?
No, even the private private universities across the country, we don't have much private colleges. We have only 3 private universities in Andhra Pradesh. And in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, there are plenty in number. So all our students, Andhra students, will go to Tamil Nadu for pursuing their undergraduate engineering. Because the state from couple of years back, 2-3 years, the admissions were taking a longer time because of court cases on fee regulatory with Supreme Court and High Court, and fees are not being decided. So academic year is going to start after the August. So students are not in a mood to wait till the August or September. They pick up the admission in June, July, where the private universities.
So
are
apart
doing
from this administrative mishap, what is your purview about if you have to give advisory to the students at large, a student from the Kakinada region, what to pick up? What gives them more quality
their
assurance?
first preference would be university affiliated colleges because university has a credibility and brand value internationally, and then they will be choosing the very prominent world known private universities.
Okay. I would take this question forward to Dr. Goyal. Sir, as a recruiter, as someone who is recruiting on behalf of one of the dominant public sector undertakings of the country, what would be your preference? What remains your preference in choosing students from these tier 2, tier 3 kind of colleges, like going to a private university and going to a state technical university affiliated college?
You see, we are the government sector. So for us, everybody is at par. We want to give equal opportunity to all of these students here. So recently we are introducing GATE marks and all. That is valid for 2 years. So instead of getting updated, a parameter is there. GATE is a well established norm which was being done by other public sectors. So we are stepping into the shoes as regard engineering discipline is concerned. Coming back to the answer what Vice Chancellor has told, there is a long gap he has told about the number of engineering colleges required in the country and what it has got. My intake on that is little different because I am finding certain seats are vacant. They say I went to South, so many seats are unfilled and all. Now let us go to the basic question: why it happens so? It happens because the fees in the private engineering colleges are very high. You compare the fee structure, and there is another aspect of it. You make an engineering college, a private person or whosoever is there, entrepreneur, starts thinking like a business, not as a profession, not as a social cause. He is investing in like a factory sort of thing. So he is creating infrastructure, air conditioned rooms, hostels, good cafeteria, everything. From that money will come. Money will come from the student. Now the student will see, if I do this degree, I spend 5 lakh, 10 lakhs, what kind of job I am going to get from there.
That is the
He is
core.
looking for that.
That should be the core
I
of-
tell you, that should not be the thing in the mind of the young generation. Recently I was to IIT Kharagpur. You see a hostel there, Vidyasagar or RP Hall and all. You will not believe what kind of, I interacted with the students. Not even a single student complained about anything. No cooler, a small room, old furniture. And they were so happy, sir, we have come here for BTech, IIT Kharagpur, or we have come for MTech, or we have come for MBA. It never bothers me. My time is spent in the library, or in a Khoka taking tea I took with them. So this kind of culture should come in the mind of young generation, and I blame parents also. You get a score of AIEEE, then you think, he will go to Manipal, he'll get good food, air conditioned hostel and all. If I send him to a small place in Tamil Nadu or in Andhra, oh my God,
So
what
you mean to say that
facilities I have seen. My son will be starving.
Academic excellence has
That's what I'm
superseded
saying. They are
the
saying
other.
flight connection. Lot of people are asking, yes, sir, there is no direct flight from there.
Yeah.
Now, a student, you are there, you are for education. See, it is a tapasya. You are having a tapasya. Do hard work today. Today we are a khadi sort of thing. So if your luck is there for the ration, your skin will not pitch.
Sir, young viewers might be finding it a bit crazy, but this is what the head of one of the biggest public recruiters in the country is talking about. So I think there is better sense out there. I will pass on this question to Professor Tulsidas. Sir, how do you encounter this, and how do you counter this trend of excesses and splurges, which is becoming more competitive? Because in order to develop software, in order to develop intellectual capital, it takes a lot of other efforts. But to have granite chiseled floors and all kind of these superfluous things, like how do you counter it under your affiliated colleges?
No, even affiliated colleges, they don't provide that kind of environment or infrastructure. They have the minimum requirement. They also provide inch by inch as per the guidelines of the ACT. They don't spend much on the buildings.
In that part of the country, it's not that
Yeah,
way.
but maybe private universities maybe doing that to attract more
So maybe that's a
students and
suggestion that
students.
that's a decoy or a deception. Let's not get into the glitter and glamour of it. There is substance in education. This brings me to the last question of this Why Engineering Talk Show, this edition. So what according to you should be the 3 parameters? My question is to Dr. Divakar Goyal. 3 parameters on which a youngster and his parents, because parents remain a dominant influencing force, on the basis of which they should select a college.
Number one thing is that what kind of faculty they have, the institute. What is the past performance of the students, the alumni, what they are placed in, where they have taken the people. Second thing is, what is the curriculum? It is matching with the industry. What kind of progress that institute has made in that. And most importantly, I am very happy today that Dr. Tulsidas has told about that values is one of the important aspect they have given. This is the most needed. I tell you, one syllabus should be there. I had been telling MBA guys, I tell now engineering also, please put ethical values as one of the important subject in the curriculum, because that is very much required, which will give progress to the country. People will understand what is satisfaction, what is contentment, and what is money.
So quality of faculty and the kind of curriculum, and most importantly the value system professed and practiced by the institution per se are the 3 parameters on which, as per Dr. Goyal, you should go for selecting your college. Professor Tulsidas, sir, your recommendations of the 3 parameters onto which students should select a college for.
Almost similar to Mr. Goyal said, because the faculty, the background and track record of the institution, and the curriculum. These three are very, very important, and parents should find out the natural interest of the student, then admit him in whatever profession he wants to become. Otherwise, everybody will become a Xerox copies, and no original thinkers will come. That is the reason we don't go for, we don't have more Nobel laureates from our country, because of the only simple reason is that parents are pushing his child to satisfy their dreams.
I think our panelists have said it all. The answers to some of the most complex problems in life are pretty simple. We probably have made them worse and complex. The solutions, as Dr. Goyal said, that academia, the 4 years of engineering are like tapasya. You have to go for academic excellence, and then it all falls from there. Pursuing a career in engineering should be the core focus, and for the parents, especially the parents, to value the natural interest and inclination of their wards, of their children, is very, very important. Pushing them through certain other path which their natural inclination is not there, is not going to fetch them any leverage in the professional world, which will get increasingly challenging and increasingly competitive. With this, we come to the close of this episode of Why Engineering. I hope that our viewers would be finding it really illuminating and interesting. We have got Engineering Watch Counseling Helpline, which is being manned by the second year and the third year engineering students spread across the country. The numbers of which you would be are being flashed as a part of this program. As a part of the Why Engineering campaign, we are also bringing about a series of 5 booklets which will educate you more about as to what kind of engineering aptitude you have within you. These booklets would be released on 15th of June during the felicitation ceremony of the Engineering Watch Fellowships. 1000 Engineering Watch fellows would be felicitated on that day, who would be mentored for 4 years of their entire academic curriculum by some or the other industry mentors. So this is the kind of commitment with which Engineering Watch is moving forward and serving the engineering education of this country. I would be back again with yet another episode of Why Engineering, with yet another set of interesting panelists. Till then, goodbye.